Does it still taste like rubber though?
We have to make an episode talking about all of these celebrities tequilas. We should try them. No, we shouldn't. I don't want to pay for them. I want to try them, but I don't want to like give them my money. You know what I mean?
If the tequila companies want to send us bottles, we will review it on the episode.
Huh?
If the tequila companies want to send us bottles, we'll review
Yeah, we're
them.
gonna get Kendall Jenner's A1A to fucking sponsor us.
Why not? Eventually, we could.
I want to talk to that bitch.
Okay, well they're definitely not sponsoring now.
Did you see the commercial where she came up with trencitas?
Please, like in the middle of like some fucking campo with like a bunch of like Mexican workers. I was like, do you not understand what this is like resembling? Like, you're like. You're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like, what in her like little brain was like, yeah, this is.
But they're always tone deaf like that when it comes to shit like
Here's
that.
Here's the thing, though.
Always.
Celebrities are in general, but the way that Kendall Jenner has like no grasp of reality.
But no. What I meant is the Kardashians and the Jenners. Like they are tone deaf to everything.
Like in general, they are like as a family, they are.
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
like Kendall Jenner takes the fucking cake.
For real?
The Pepsi commercial, like
I was just about to reference that Pepsi commercial was so bad.
You know what I mean? It's like
so
I feel
bad.
like the Kardashians are really good at PR though.
Oh
like,
no, they're amazing.
Like so
that
like,
is their superpower.
Kim Kardashian, like all of like the older ones, even Kylie now because she's like a fucking billionaire. Like they care about their image and like you're not gonna catch them slipping like that. You know what I mean? Like on a fucking
that's
Pepsi
all they
commercial,
are. All they are is
do that.
image.
But Kendall Jenner just like she cannot get a fucking grip to save her life.
I used to have such resentment towards the Kardashians because
You and everyone
I
else.
just think they're talentless until you really pay attention to the fact that their talent is just PR. They're
just like business people. Like they just know how to make money.
and especially Chris. Chris is like fucking.
Listen,
I
love that woman.
when just the fact that when the Ray J sex tape came out, she was all like, "As my daughter, that's fucking horrible."
As a
like,
mom, I
right,
am
yeah.
mortified. But
she
as
said,
a manager,
yeah, she said, "As a manager, this is my time to shine," and
It's
she
like-
really made that shit shine.
She did.
Killed that shit.
and
yeah.
like, isn't that what life
Cheers.
is about? You know,
Cheers.
turning the ugly things into money.
Well, one would hope. Salud.
No, yo no quiero tomarme esto.
Oh no, what's this Walmart baby thing? Is the lady trying to buy a kid for $500?
The Walmart
Is that how much it was?
baby.
500? I thought it was like 5,000. That's the price I put on a life.
I don't know. Apparently, somewhere in Houston, a woman tried to buy a baby at Walmart because where else would you go?
I hadn't
To get a
taken a
baby.
tequila shot in a while. That was kind of great.
I know, right?
That
And
really
then
brought me back
this
to life.
mezcal slaps, dog. What is this?
I don't want mezcal.
I forgot what it was.
That's what I put last time in my fucking drink.
Mezcala doesn't joven, esencial.
I've been building a relationship with Lee's liquor shop, and like I just get whatever.
Man, hey, no.
Wait, where?
Shout out. I'm gonna do another shout out right off the top. Shout out to Lee's. They've been taking care of me since I was a kid, really.
A kid.
But I can't. They didn't give me alcohol. They used to give us candy because our
Aw.
bus stop was at Lee's.
That's
so
really
we would.
sweet.
So she's been a staple in.
I shop at OST Liquor.
Second Ward for a while.
I love them. I'm quite obsessed with them.
For real?
Brenda and I
It's mom and
really
pop.
ride for- yeah. And
Mom
like,
and
they're
pop
just so
stops.
nice. They always make conversation. I'm like, they have like this little section that is like black owned like alcohol. It's just, I love them.
Yeah,
do
Lee's.
love them.
Lee's. She's my second mom.
Nice. It makes sense.
Yeah. So apparently somebody tried to
Alright.
buy a baby at
Are
Walmart.
we recording already?
Yeah,
Good
we're
to
recording.
know. We never like start off the. We always just like talk. Oh, I thought you were gonna come like hide behind me like you said you would.
Special guest.
You blew him?
Mhm.
Not like that. You laughed like immediately. Anyway, this
Apparently
fucking baby. Who's trying to buy a baby? Why do you want a baby? For what?
Look, man, I don't know, but I want to know how the interaction happened.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's such an insane scenario that I think she was like, hey, if I give you $500,000, would you sell me your baby? Like, I don't think there was, you know what I mean? Because you have to be so like out of touch with reality to even like propose that.
Right.
That like what you're going to try and pass it off as like something else. Like no, you're trying to buy a baby.
If somebody goes up to you at any establishment and tells you,
let alone a Walmart.
I'm willing, I have $500,000. Can I buy your baby? Can we verify that number first before I keep saying it? What's your first reaction? No, you're a psychopath, or like let me see the check.
No, my first reaction would
Or like,
be,
is it in cash?
why
Like,
do you want
what's
a
going on?
baby?
How do I like? And even then, like, even if you did have the money, like, let's say there was a suitcase full of money. My first thought is like,
Also, yeah.
first of all, like,
did
I would
she
say
have it in the car, or was she like?
That's what I wanna know.
I'm meeting you. Like, I approached this person at Walmart, and like,
well, that
you
was
have to come over to see the money.
that was gonna be my third point or my second point. It was gonna be like, how does then that story get to the Houston, or the cops?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Shoot. What's the story?
Sources KKTV 11. Right now they're saying that a Walmart in Walmart, Rebecca Taylor, age 49, is
Put the
charged.
mic on.
Is charged with the triumph's purchase of a child, and it's a third-degree felony. She walked up to a lady in the self-checkout and was trying to buy one of her two kids for $250,000 each.
$250,000. So she was trying to buy two babies.
Yeah, two kids.
Both?
Two babies. A set.
Hell no.
She was trying to get the wholesale.
She looks like she had mental problems, though.
Well, clearly,
Like, obviously,
there
what the
was
fuck?
clearly there was some mental issue going on.
And like she did it at the checkout line where there's employees.
Right,
Girl,
so-
do
so-
it at like the baking aisle.
So now we know.
Do it at the baking out.
Yeah,
yeah, what the fuck?
do it. Do it on aisle 8. Like, do it.
Dead ass. Do it by the chips. Why are you doing it in front of the
do
cashier?
it by the chips, because
She will snitch.
100%. That's how. Now we
Damn.
know how we got to.
I found a mugshot. I don't know if we could pull it up later, but she looks a little deranged. So just
I mean, yeah, she's trying to buy.
I'd be like,
children
show me the
at
money.
Walmart. Number one, like,
show me the money.
also, like,
I'd be like, show me the money, and then
hypothetically, like, if you're going to do that, buy them at Target, because you know they come from like, you know what I mean? Target is
Wayfair
like
and shit.
the rich. Like, if you really want to go buy a baby, buy it from like some rich white family. You know what I mean? They're already like well fed. They probably have already kind of been raised in some way.
Yeah, but you
You
can't
know?
do that at Target because Target has some kind of like
you can't do
moral
that
ground
anywhere.
there. Walmart, yeah, I mean, hey, have you seen
But-
the people of Walmart website?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If you're really trying to get, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just like go to. I just feel
Some
like
high
Target would
quality-
be a better, yeah.
So you're
High
trying to say
quality
like
baby?
pick your audience. Like,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? No, I
And
get
like
you.
Target is quieter too. You
I
know,
get you.
like
I
Target
would've
is
gone,
less
I would have gone to
crowded.
like Sam's or something. I would have been to like
No.
Costco and be like, can I get it in like a wholesale
maybe.
group? Like, can I get it in bulk?
Because those
Like-
families are buying in bulk.
You know
so
what I
they
mean?
they
Like,
have
can I get-
big families are way more
That wouldn't
likely
make
to be
sense.
like, yeah, I already have 5. You can take one.
Or IKEA, you know what I mean? Since it's a fucking maze to get out of there anyway. By the time the cops show up, they gotta go through the fucking.
Well, that's just
They
called
gotta go through the living
kidnapping.
room. They gotta go. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, if an employee saw, like, if you did manage to say like, yeah, all right, like, let me see the cash.
Yeah,
like,
but
let
the
me-
employee will know the
the shortcuts,
maze better
the,
than you would. Yeah.
the fast pass.
They can do like the little fucking exit doors that you don't know about. You know.
Did y'all hear about the Wayfair thing a couple years back, where they were? selling
Yes.
Yeah.
The fucking what was it? It was like a locker thing, right?
No, it was like a lot. It was like suspicious, like
High-
items that were
Yeah.
like regular like drawers or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
regular,
yeah.
but they were priced at like $8,000,
Yeah.
like $10,000. So
I
people
remember
were
that. People were like, "There's skits in there." I
yeah,
was like, "You
they were
bitches are so
speculating that there
dumb."
was some human trafficking happening on Wayfair because. But you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. It was after that I got a Wayfair account. Not because of that, but because I didn't know what Wayfair was, and I was like, "What the fuck is Wayfair?" And then I went on there, and some of that shit is nice, bro.
True.
Like,
Honestly, I had never heard about Wayfair
I had
before.
never heard-
I wonder if Wayfair
Y'all
just
are
started
late to
that whole
this.
conspiracy, like
That-
a whole conspiracy to
that would be
up their
amazing. if the conspiracy
marketing.
started and Wayfair was like, yo, don't even try to kill it. Don't even try to kill it. Just let everybody flood the fucking website and actually make everything 20% cheaper. That
Well,
would have
yeah,
been
there's a-
amazing.
The
That would have been
thing
incredible.
about Wayfair is that it has always been great. I can't believe that people didn't know where it was. That's where I got so much of my shit.
I have never been.
And like all of their shit is always like discounted. It's
For
not
real?
great, but yeah.
You know what? To be honest with you,
That's
I'm
like
just
their
gonna be
thing.
straight up. Wayfair should be the sponsor of this podcast. I got this at Wayfair. I got that over there at Wayfair.
That's really cute.
Yeah, I know.
My bed
Shit.
is from Wayfair.
And
My desk is. I never finished building it, so it's kind of wonky. But
But it
But
was
it's there.
it was after the scandal that I was all like, "Yo, Wayfair was really popping out here. Like, what's going on? Like, well, let me see this drawer that costs $8,000.
this just ends.
Maybe it's
Human
worth it. I don't
trafficking
know."
Is a great marketing like strategy.
Look, man. And speaking of the Jenners, speaking of the Jenners, I know Chris was probably behind that shit. Chris was probably like, "Yo, like, Wayfair, hook it up." Chris Jenner.
Oh my god.
She was probably
I
like,
was
"Yo,
thinking
Wayfair, let me."
Chris, like CHRIS,
No.
and I was like, "Who's Chris? Is this one of your friends?"
No. Chris Jenner was probably like, "Yo, Wayfair, like."
Chris Jenner would never.
No, but just on the D.
She knows how to turn a
Wayfair?
scandal
a
into.
consultant
Chris
gig.
Jenner is
Just
a
be like,
West
"Yo."
Elm woman.
They probably called her. Oh yeah, Speaking of West Elm.
Are you?
That's why we weren't gonna talk about.
Fuck yes! I am so excited. I can't believe you know about that.
Well,
you have TikTok,
it was.
right?
It was. No, I don't. I don't.
I?
I don't have TikTok.
Did I tell you
no,
about
but it was on. It happened in New York, and a lot of like podcasts that I listen to is in New
A lot
York.
of them are in New York. Yeah,
So
that makes
then
sense.
they were talking about it to some degree, and what?
Go on and explain. I don't know.
I was like,
okay.
there's like waving me down.
We can explain it. West Elm, there was this TikTok. This girl made a TikTok, and she was talking about this like bad dating experience. And somebody on the comments was like, "Are you talking about West Elm Caleb? Because that's where he works. Like, there's this guy that is on like Hinge and Bumble and like all these. I think he's only on Hinge. I could be wrong.
It was a Hinge.
I don't know
yeah.
which.
With
I
the
think
cap.
so. And
Yeah,
he
yeah.
worked at West Elm, and he basically has fucked over like half of the female population of New York, because he's like on these apps, and he would like love bomb them and like be like super fucking sweet and be like really into them, or like pretend to be really into them, and then he'll like ghost them. Like, just like literally drop them. And
Right.
it became like that girl posted that, and then there was a bunch of other girls being like, "Holy shit, that same thing happened to me with the same guy." And all like half of New York City, like all these girls were like, "Damn, we were all fucking played by West Elm Caleb." Which, number one, how does he have the fucking time? How long were these relationships going for?
Well, I have opinions
You know what
about
I mean?
this. First and foremost, I think the most fucked up thing that he did, and which actually
It's put
makes
where
it
you
fucked
work
up.
at.
Huh?
I think it's put where you work at. Why would you say you work? Like, why would you say where you work at?
Right. Well,
much
yeah, I guess so.
information.
No,
That's too
I think the fact that he, 'cause if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably know more about this than I do. But I think the fact, what made it bad was the fact that he, like actually told them that they were exclusive. Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
There was like 30 girls that came out. There was like 30
Basically-
girls, and some of those girls were like, he told me that we were exclusive, and then come to find out that like he was sending like the same playlist to everybody, that he was sending the same like
Oh, I didn't know that.
same copy and paste text messages, same
Yeah.
copy of it, like all of it
Here's
was
the
just
thing,
like
though.
wholesale. All of it was like
Yeah.
Costco and shit. Like so.
When it came on my For You page, I like investigated what the situation was, but I wasn't like on West Elm Caleb TikTok. I was on people talking about West Elm Caleb TikTok, if that makes sense. You know, so I don't know exactly, but I know that like the gist of it was like all these girls were like, he would like, was, you know, like he went out of his way to like pursue you and like make you feel good and say like be really sweet with
Right.
you. Like it was like a full on thing. Like this person is interested in you, and then he would just like drop him.
And then he would just drop them. Yeah, I think the most fucked up thing is the fact that he told some of them that they were exclusive.
Well, yeah.
That's really everything else. I'm like whatever about.
I just think it's so insane that there's like, I feel like I see that happen so often on New York TikTok, where there are like these like experiences that people are like, this is crazy and this happened. And then a bunch of comments will be like, that same exact thing happened to me in that same exact place or with that same exact person. Like the amount of fucking girls. What, like, are you a part-time at West Elm? What is your job there? What is, like, you know what I mean?
I don't know. He just makes furniture for people.
No, he doesn't make fucking furniture. He's like a sales, like, rep
I don't know what he does. Apparently he makes furniture. I thought he was one of the...
Apparently on this thing that we're reading of it, he is a 40-year-old man.
Fuck off.
Really? He does not look 40.
Kidding. No way. He's 40.
We have to double check.
He
that
does
somewhere,
not
but
look
that is
40.
what the Rolling Stones page says.
He
and
was
that
not-
40 years
kidding.
old.
He does not look
You
40.
are
And if he
shitting me.
is,
no
then
way.
No, on
Cool.
his profile it says 25.
Yeah.
His profile said 25. But he's actually 40?
There's
I don't know. It says
no
25,
way.
it says
Excuse
25.
me. I just
Why did
heard.
Rolling Stone say he was 40 though?
The internet uproar around West Elm Caleb is out of control.
It is out of control. I don't actually think he did anything wrong except for telling them that they were exclusive. I think that's fucked up. But I think all the other shit is whatever.
Here's the thing. It's one thing to be like, oh, I was seeing this person and then I ghosted them. It's another thing to like love bomb somebody for months and then ghost them. Like that is not the same thing. That is 100% wrong because that is just like the long way of saying you let them on, and that's just like not
sure,
right.
but you know, you know, the way that I got this little bit, which I agree with from another podcast, which they said was like, yeah, I mean, it's a little shaky, or it's a little like, you know, like whatever. You know, it's not like necessarily like the nicest thing to do, but also like it's not like he was a fucking jerk. He was just, you know,
if you lead people on, you're an asshole. Like that's it.
Ultimately, he is an asshole, but that's also not like the worst thing in the world.
Well, yeah,
like
nobody's being like,
you know what I mean?
crucify him.
And it's also not like
Everybody's just being like, damn, this is literally all he does. Like he just goes out
Probably.
with like a bunch of fucking like. Number one, what is your objective? What are you?
Yeah,
You know what I
think
mean?
I think
That man makes bank. Imagine all the
I think that
Dead ass.
I think
how
the
much
fact
are they
that
fucking paying? I'm so interested in this job.
He's a furniture designer.
I told you he actually makes furniture.
Oh, I dead ass thought he worked at like customer service.
Nah,
Like,
no.
I thought he worked at the West Elm store
He actually
in
like
New
makes the
York.
furniture. I think him saying that they were
Damn,
exclusive,
he is
I think
making
that's a
bank.
little fucked up. But I don't think like everything else is just like, man, like women do that shit to men all the time too. Like those,
That is
like
not true.
Yeah, they do.
I also
That
think
shit is
just
true.
the idea
Women.
of ghosting in general is fucked up because like just be an adult and like
Yeah.
explain that
Yeah,
like okay,
that's-
I'm done, you know.
I don't fit in this conversation.
That's I mean, and even then that's shaky. I think,
I
and
love
I got
ghosting.
this point from another podcast as well. They said like it just looks like these girls are like have a bruised ego because it happened to a guy that they thought they were better than.
Hey, shut the fuck up.
These
girls
and
have,
he's
no,
not.
if you have
and he's
somebody
not-
being like, I really like you and I'm so excited about all these things with you, and then they literally just stop talking to you, you're gonna be like, whoa,
But
what the fuck?
going back to our last
that doesn't have to
episode,
do with my ego. That has to do with like, why would you lie to me?
like you're saying that it's like a decency thing, but imagine
Yeah.
going back to our last episode where we're talking about like celebrities or who were we talking, Drake and all those. Like if you were dating a celebrity and they just like were like, yo, I'm not gonna talk to you
No,
anymore,
you
you
don't
wouldn't
get
be
a
like,
fucking
oh, I'm so
pass.
hurt because you love bomb me. You'd be like, yo, you're a fucking celebrity. Like you're
no,
yes,
you might be like
100%.
that. I would not be. I would be like, what? You think that because you're fucking rich and famous, you can treat me like shit? No.
Yeah,
They
that
shouldn't
shit
treat you like
regardless.
shit. They
That's
shouldn't
shitty.
treat you like shit. But I'm at the end of the
But
day,
that's
I'm
what
like,
I'm saying. You can't. Like, if I have set the boundary of like that is not how I like to be, and like the thing is that like to be like, oh, to try to like argue against it is like almost trying to tell people like how to feel. You know, like it's like,
Oh, no,
you
no.
shouldn't like it shouldn't be that big of a deal that like he ghosted you because like, oh, you're only feeling like that because it hurt your ego, which is like number one, that's not how fucking feelings work. But number two, it's
Right.
not like they're like going around with pitchforks being like, cancel him. Everybody was just being like, that's crazy. Like, that's really fucking
well, there's
funny.
nothing to cancel.
I mean, you
He's
know
not
what I
like
mean?
famous.
It really was kind of a witch hunt.
It
though.
wasn't-
There's an entire hashtag for it and everything.
Right, but what?
And I mean,
but like, what are they
It
gonna
wasn't
cancel?
Like like there
What are they
wasn't
gonna
anything.
cancel?
They were just like, this is crazy. Like the fact that there
Yeah.
are these many people, like that is hilarious. You know what I mean? This feels like a fucking movie.
Yeah,
but
like,
nobody
and-
was like,
I hope he doesn't
we
lose
should
his
all
job.
call West Elm and tell them about it so they can fire him. Like,
Yeah, I
that's
hope-
not what was happening.
I
you
hope
know?
that he doesn't. If that is happening, that's fucked up. Because
that's not gonna
But
happen.
but other than that, like he's not gonna get canceled.
You're going to Tinder, Chispa, I mean, and Bumble, whatever he was on to go find something. Are you really looking for love in a dating app?
Some people are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Some
saying you
people
can't
are.
find love there. I'm sure there's a lot of great love
Yeah.
stories that happen on
And, like,
on
also
internet
some
dating.
people are
and-
just dating
and
too.
stuff.
Like
Yeah,
they
like-
don't have to like be looking for like the next like love of their life. Some people are just like, oh, I just want to meet people and see where it goes.
I think
you
the
know?
crazy part is that it was so many women,
It was
and it was
so
the same exact
many.
tactic on
Yeah,
every
like,
single
there
woman.
was just so fucking many. Like the way that these articles are like literally half the fucking population of
And
New
he's
York
not
City
like the
dated
best looking
him.
dude either.
The
like,
man found
if
the
you see his
algorithm
picture-
and he went with it.
Well, no, I think this goes back to a point that was made a long time ago. I forgot who said it, but the argument was that like average looking people get more play than really good looking people, and that was the argument. And it was like, this is why that podcast that I was watching was talking about how those really pretty women were talking about had bruised egos, because it was like, oh, I'm shooting down. Instead of like
they invented that. Like nobody has talked about that. None of those women.
No.
I was so fucking cute, and he wasn't cute enough to go.
Well, of course they're not gonna say that. They're not gonna go on TikTok and be like, "Yo, I'm pissed off because I'm so better than him." And like,
you are on the wrong side of TikTok. Because the people that I see on TikTok would 100. I will fucking say that shit. I would be like, "Who the fuck does he think he is? I'm way cuter. You cannot ghost me. I should be able to ghost you."
But that's why they were trying to highlight it, because they were like, I can't believe this man is doing it to all of us.
But
and
that's not that. No, that is not the same thing. You can be upset about somebody being like, "Hey, you lied to me," and it doesn't have to do with you thinking that you're cuter than him. It's just you fucking lie to me, and I don't like it when people lie to me. That's it.
To that point, being the ghosting being part of what's fucked up about it. Have you ever ghosted somebody?
Oh, 100%.
So then that's the pot caught in the kettle black at that point.
Right,
I've never ghosted anybody. I've never ghosted anybody.
Here's the thing: is that number one? I think again, like that was such a like a shocking thing that he would ghost, is because all these girls were like, he was going out of his way to like show interest, which is like, you don't have to do that. If you just want to fuck somebody, you can just fuck somebody. You know what I mean? If you just want to
women can say that, but men can't say that.
Yeah,
men can't. No, men cannot be like, I just want to fuck somebody.
You're putting those boundaries on yourself, because I've had
no. Trust me, I don't have those boundaries. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm saying
like, if you can't say that, like you can.
But there also, I will also say, there are people that they do have to like put in more work to be able to get some. And two, on top of that, there are people that just really enjoy the idea of like getting somebody to fall for them before they
100%.
I've met those people too.
But,
and that's,
did he do that? Was he meeting up with these girls?
Oh, yeah, he was hooking up with all
They
of
were
them.
fully dating.
Okay.
Like they would go out on dates.
And that's the part where I do think it's fucked up. He was telling them, he was telling them like, no, we're exclusive. Like we like you and I are. It's just you and I.
They were fully like dating.
Yeah. And that's the part where I think it's fucked up.
Like to be like, I don't think that I have ever like ghosted somebody that I was like in a relation. I have never ghosted somebody that I was in a relationship with. I just want to say that I've ghosted somebody that like
you weren't interested.
Like, exactly. And I don't think, again, like to the point, it's like it's one thing if you number one, I think that you can 100% be like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Does that mean it's going to work out for you every single time? No.
Okay, well that's a clear. That's a good distinction.
But that's what I'm like.
Like guys can say it like this is all I want, but that's not what's gonna happen.
Obviously, because people want different things. You know what I mean? Like at any given point, you can run into somebody and you might like them and be like, hey, but I don't want anything serious, and they might be looking for something serious, and that means like, cool, we are not the people to do this.
The point that I was making is that if there's a higher chance that a girl can go up to a guy that she's barely met, that she barely knows, and say, I only want this and I only want sex, and she most likely will get sex. Guys can say, oh, I only want sex, but that's not going to happen at the same quantity, at the same ratio that a girl can
that's different.
That's all I meant.
See that being true.
That's all I meant.
But yeah, I don't remember what we were talking about before that.
I if I remember correctly, when I like skimmed through it, it was only like 3 or 4 girls that specifically said that he's told them that they were exclusive. All the other ones were like, oh, he just sent me the same playlist. Like, oh yeah, that's the same message he sent me.
Yeah.
But they weren't. They didn't like go out for a very long time. Yeah. It was only like a small, like I don't know what the ratio was, but it was a small percentage of women that were like, no, he actually did tell me that.
The general idea I got from the dates was that he supposedly just made them feel really special. And it just felt like a good date.
Yeah, he love bombed
and
them.
And then afterwards it was just like no text, no call, nothing.
Yeah.
Which is like number one, that is not. It's one thing to ghost somebody. It's another thing to love bomb them and then ghost them. Like that's the difference.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Like if we went out and I just didn't, if we just didn't vibe,
or like
then it's just like, okay, we can like
let's say we went out, we had like a good time. You know, we had a good conversation. Even if we went out a couple more times, but the only like setting that I'm seeing you in, it's in these like scheduled like dates,
Public,
and,
like,
like public dates or whatever. And then I stop. I mean, I can see obviously if that happens and then they ghost you, like you're dating and like that just sucks. Like that sucks. That's so lame.
Yeah.
But it's like not a big deal. It's different when you're like going out and they're like, love bombing is very like specific. Like that's a form of manipulation.
I've never heard that term before, by the way.
Oh,
until this
yeah,
thing.
like love bombing is like manipulation. Like that is like something that like abusers would do, and they just like shower you with love essentially. Like they'll like give you gifts, or they'll give you a lot of like words of affirmation. They'll be really sweet. They'll be really affectionate. Whatever way that they like have seen that you like respond to, they basically do that. But they do it like so often. Like they do it. Like they do like grand gestures, and they're going out of their way to like shower you in it.
They flood you in it, yeah.
Specifically, like very early on in relationships, which is why it's like manipulation, because it's like when you're that earlier in a relationship, like you don't know that person. You know what I mean? You're not. Why are you going out of your way to like do all these grand gestures? Like that's not normal. Like when you're still dating, like you're strangers, and you should treat each other like strangers, because the whole point of it is that you're getting to know each other.
Right.
So. With that, like the natural human reaction is obviously going to be like, that feels good when people are like talking nice to you and they're doing things for you and they're like showering you with like,
but why can't you,
all these things.
If somebody showers you, to your point about how you should be treat each other like strangers, if you're strangers, if it's bad for a guy to just love bomb at that point, right at the beginning, why can't the same expectation be like, if somebody love bombs you at the beginning, you should be very apprehensive, not feel really good about it instead. Like,
number one,
like that should be a red flag.
Sure,
so that
it is,
you know
100%.
You know what I mean.
Love bombing is 100% a red flag. But number one, it's like. Number one, to be like, oh, well, why didn't you, like, realize that he was love bombing you is kind of like victim blaming. And two, like, number one, love bombing can be in a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? Like, that can happen in a lot of different ways. It doesn't always look the same. So it's not always, like, super fucking easy in the moment to be like, this is what he's doing.
I can see that.
You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Because you could also, like, depending on the level of it, too, you might be like, oh, like this person is just really into me. Because that happens too. Like sometimes you meet somebody and you click with them immediately and you like really bond with them and you want to spend so much time and you're like excited about them and you want to do like nice things for them, or like you talk to them like in a very like nice, sweet way. So it's not always so like clear cut where it's like, oh, this guy's sending me flowers every fucking day. It's like, well, that's a psychopath. Like we all know that. But if it's like, they're just showing a lot of fucking interest, and it's not like, it's kind of on like a very fine line between being like kind of creepy, but it hasn't crossed.
Well, they clearly didn't think it was creepy because they liked him.
It's like,
and that's why I'm
that's
like,
what I mean. Like, it doesn't cross that line. You know what I mean? It's like it nears it, but it doesn't ever get there. So then your immediate reaction, of course, after all these things that are happening to you or that are being said to you also make you feel good. It's not going to be like, this person is love bombing me. They're going to be like, oh, like, I mean, that might be kind of, you know, like,
this feels good. This feels nice.
You know, like, that's nice. Like, maybe he just is really expressive. Maybe he's really in tune with his feelings or what, you know what I mean? Like, there's other ways to explain it, not just being like, oh, he's love bombing me. I feel like, again, like, you're being manipulated. Like, at the end of the day, like, you're being manipulated. So it's not like, if you knew, then you wouldn't be manipulated.
Well,
but that's not really how it works.
It's the intention that's behind it of like, are you just showing this person love to show them love? Or are you showing them love so that you can eventually try to manipulate them or hurt them in some way?
Right.
And at the end of the day, if this guy was like purposely like showering them with all of this love just to then like take it away to feel some kind of, I'm assuming some kind of power, because why else are you doing that?
The easiest thing to assume is that he just wanted to fuck them.
But did he fuck like all those girls?
That I don't know. I don't think that was disclosed, or even if it was, I didn't pay attention to that part of the thing. But I would assume that it was. I would assume that it was just like, oh, I'm like showering you with affection so you can like me, so that then maybe I can, you know, be able to fuck you later.
Even then, though, that's where I'm like, I mean, like, fuckboys have existed for so many fucking centuries. You know how many guys just fuck it, like have like a one night stand and then never call a girl back. Like, that's where it's like,
That's why I was all like, I don't understand.
Why the extra effort? Like that has, like, baby, there's already a blueprint for that.
Because he probably
like,
saw more success that way. He probably saw like, oh, there are a whole bunch of fucking fuckboys out here. So if I'm gonna be a fuckboy, I'm gonna be a different type of fuckboy. Instead of doing the usual like, oh, I'll just like try to like meet you at a bar or this or that or whatever. I'm finding success with you like being showered with affection. And, all right, so this is the formula.
But that just feels like so much more work for the kind of same amount. Because, like,
and it might 100% be more work.
Only because they, like, all these girls, like, all of, like, at least the majority that I'd seen, like, it all happened for, like, months. Not, like, 1 month or 2 months. Like, it happened for, like, 3 or 4, 5, 6, however long. Like, not, like, a year. But you know what I mean? Like, it happened for, like, a couple of months. Where I'm like, even if you wanted to like seem like the kind of person that wanted something serious so that they would end up sleeping with you, like, I mean, some women might, but like for the most part, it's not gonna take like 2 fucking months. You know what I mean? Know. I mean, like it might, like in a lot of cases it might, but I feel like it's kind of like 50-50. You know what I mean? Like, yes, obviously, like, everybody has different boundaries and everybody has, like, different timelines for how, like, when they feel comfortable and when they want to do things. Yeah. But I think, like, it's not going to take you that fucking hard to, like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes people also just want to fuck. Like,
yeah.
If you're attractive, it's like, what, like, you know.
Yeah, let's get to it quicker.
You don't have to put in this fucking, like, 4-month, like.
So would it have been a lot?
Workshop.
Would his perception, would his image still be intact had all the girls said, oh, when he stopped having interest in me, he told me. Like, if he hadn't ghosted.
Oh,
I'm
sure he would have.
Even despite the fact of it coming out that it was the same playlist, same text, same, like...
Well, yeah, because
like
overlapping time periods. Ever came out.
Like, huh?
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody would have made a video and been like, I went out with this guy and he worked at West Elm.
So it was the ghosting that prompted the crazy.
To, like, tell me that he wasn't... Like, nobody's fucking making it... You know what I mean? Like, nobody's trying to go viral with that.
Right. And it was the ghosting that was the thing.
Have, like, also, I feel like that wouldn't have been as like a particular experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's been a lot of people that have been like, oh yeah, I
That's
dated
so
this
crazy.
guy for a while, and then he told me that he wasn't interested in me, and so we never saw each other again.
So I saw this in passing, and then me and Brie were talking about it, and I don't know if it was me that asked or her that asked, but she was like, we eventually got to the point where we were like, have you ever ghosted somebody? And I didn't know what the full definition of ghosting was.
What is the full definition of ghosting?
I haven't looked it up, but I said that because he assumed that it's just kind of like, even if you've been messaging and you end up like leaving somebody on red, basically. I don't consider that to be the case. I consider it to be something that's like,
consistent.
You completely like block that person and whatnot with like no explanation, just completely disappear off of all the social media that you have of them. Or it could also be the idea of like somebody consistently messaging you and you completely leaving them on red. And again, it comes with the idea of like there is no reason for it.
Yeah,
but that's where I was confused. That's where I was confused because
at the beginning it was like, oh, I block you, and because it's like, oh, I ghosted you, like
that
I
makes
disappeared.
Sense.
That makes sense. I think now people use it more like, yeah, if somebody's like texting you and they consistently like don't reply, like they always, because like I've left you on red, but like you wouldn't say like, oh, I ghosted you, or
right,
you know
and also we weren't talking like that.
In that conversation. But if you are consistently like, if somebody's like texting you and you like always make it a point to not respond or not interact, like they ghosted you. That's
right.
done.
And that's where I didn't realize until we had this conversation about how convoluted that like gray area is, because if it's just like blocked, like if it's just constant communication and then all of a sudden from one day to another like blocked, and from all of any way you can contact me, you no longer have access. Okay, ghosted. Like that makes clear cut, perfect sense. But then what if like the interest just like slowly fizzled away and somebody got left on red?
Sometimes you also like I've accidentally ghosted someone. And like I say accidentally because I wasn't
But was it ghosting, or was it you just being,
ghosting.
or was it you just being like, oh, no. I'm just not interested in this anymore?
Well, but I didn't say that, so I ghosted him.
Right, but like, what's the like?
That's what I mean. It's like
I'll give you this as an example. Me as an adult, I've been like, as a kid, as a a high schooler, whatever, but like that's a little different. But as an adult, I've been left on red before, where like seemingly we were having good conversation and everything was nice and going pleasant, or nothing crazy serious, but like it could have maybe if we both decided that we were weren't too busy or whatever, blah blah blah, or whatever the reason was, right? But then slowly it fizzled away, and when I've been left on red, I just assumed as the adult in the interaction, like, oh, she's just not interested anymore.
Right.
Like,
she ghosted you.
But I didn't like register it in my head like, oh, I've been ghosted. I was just like, oh, this just fizzled away. Like equal parts. Like maybe I was a little bit more invested because now I'm looking at this message and I was like, oh, it would have been nice to keep doing that. But at the end of the day, like, oh, I'm also not gonna like keep sending more because now I'm in creep territory and I'm not gonna do that. Right. So then I'm like, oh yeah. So like interest was left, but like.
But
I would have never said.
You didn't have the vocabulary. That just means you're a millennial and you didn't have the vocabulary.
Right. Maybe that's what it is.
I honestly do not think that I would agree with that. And I found
that is ghosting. Like if you were talking to somebody,
I didn't even. But I didn't register it as ghosting.
Like I feel like not if it's somebody. I don't know how to like.
And here's the thing. In that situation, I didn't register it as ghosting. I didn't think that it was like disrespectful. I just thought like, oh, like interest is gone. But I also did not expect an explanation as to why. Like, I also did not
feel like it also kind of depends.
I also didn't
like,
tell myself in my head like, oh, it would have been really nice if this person would have like told me that they weren't interested. Like I never said that either. Yeah. So then I'm like, oh, like. I don't feel like she did anything wrong. I don't feel like anything was like left unsaid. I think that we weren't in a position where we had actually communicated that we were past a certain point of commitment or like responsibilities or exclusivity or whatever it was.
Sure.
And the fact that like interest got lost along the way, I took the hint. I'm guessing she also is in the same page because we both haven't communicated with each other, and. I didn't think to myself like, oh man, she's an awful person for not telling me that that's what it was. So that's why I didn't register those things as ghosting.
Well, but that just depends. Like there's people, like Brie was saying earlier, like she was like, I don't fucking like that. Like I don't think that's cool. And there's other people that are like, well, I don't, it's just like taking the hint.
Now,
so it just kind of depends. Like you can define like what happened. Like she did ghost you, but that doesn't mean that you have to be like it doesn't mean that because she ghosted you, you have to be like she's a fucking bitch. It's like no, that's just a term that we give that action.
It also depends on how far along into y'all's
I agree too.
Quote unquote relationship for it. Do you want to hear the definition from Wikipedia of it?
Sure.
Wikipedia? I thought you were about to pull up like Urban Dictionary. What the fuck?
Ghosting, also known as simmering or icing.
That's
never heard that before.
Simmering. Hey yo, don't let me simmer out here.
What fucking millennial wrote that?
Don't put me on low heat over here. Like I need to be on medium high at all times.
Like what?
Know your worth.
Sounds like some John Tucker mustache shit. Like.
Is a colloquial term which describes the practice of ending all communication and contact with another person without any apparent warning or justification, and subsequently ignoring any attempts to reach out or communicate made by the person.
Yeah. I think that the confusion is like you were saying, like, oh, I took the hint, so like I'm not gonna. And I think a lot of people don't take the hint and they are just like they keep messaging, and so that's also why it's like this like intense thing where it's like, well, yeah, they're continuously fucking ghosting you because you won't take the fucking hint and you won't stop messaging them. Right. Just stop doing that. Right.
And on the other side of the spectrum, I've been very communicative to whoever it is that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, this is where I am mentally, this is where I am emotionally, this is where I am whatever, like, and I'm keeping you in the loop. And then I have said, hey, I can't do this past this point. Like I do not want to continue this. Yeah. And then to the definition of being blocked completely, after that, I get blocked.
That's not the same thing.
I get blocked because then I'm like, they're like, oh, like, you don't want what I want and I don't want you to be to have access to me or whatever. At least that's what I'm assuming was going on. But I've had those times happen more than like me just being like left on red.
That's not the same thing.
You know what I mean?
That's not the same
thing. And I guess I started off by saying I've never ghosted somebody, but based on what you're saying, then I probably have, because I've probably left people on red that I just kind of slowly fizzled out. But I didn't think that I was necessarily doing something wrong, because I'm like, well, we both kind of fizzled out. Like,
yeah,
you know,
feel like there's also like that nuance of like when like you can tell that you're both like not really interested and the conversations are starting
like
to
what
die
happens
down. But that's not necessarily like. I feel like with ghosting, like there's always one person that's putting a little bit more effort, and then there's the other person that is like, I don't care about this. Like, I don't want to keep doing this.
Right.
But like what you were like, if you give, I feel like that's also what the like debate is about. Is like, people are like, oh, you said something earlier. Now I can't remember. But you know, like, oh, you were talking about like the level of commitment. But I don't think that you need to have a level of like you can be talking to somebody for like, I don't know, like a few weeks and still be like, hey, I actually like I'm not interested in this anymore. Like, you know, like I really enjoyed our conversations, but that's it. Like that's allowed. We can do that. You don't have to have any level of commitment to do that.
And to Bree's point, I do think that there is an aspect of decency there.
Yeah, there is.
Where it's like, you know, you're an adult. Like have a conversation with somebody. If this was this and it is now this for you, like just say it so that you don't have to. So that you don't have to like even get in any like weird shaky territory. Like, you know what I mean? Just be an adult and say what you know say what it is, so that you don't have to like deal with it. And whether it's a woman or a man, like if they don't agree or if they don't like it, then they don't agree and they don't like it. But at least you spoke your piece.
Do you think at the end of the day, ghosting is in the eye of the beholder? Does it depend on how that person feels about it? Like,
I think it probably depends on how that person feels about the other person.
I don't think
so.
But
that's why I'm saying, like, yeah, because if two people are both in this boat where they both feel like it just fizzled out, then I wouldn't consider that to be ghosting. But if one person feels like they were still into that person,
and then all of a sudden they got dropped,
but the other person may completely feel like, oh no, it just fizzled out, you know? So two people may have two completely different viewpoints of the situation.
I mean, I feel like that would be like you, I don't know. I just feel like you have to like a lot of like self-aware to like not realize that like I can tell like, oh yeah, like I'm just not into this person, but like you can tell when somebody's like interested, you know what I mean? Like you can compare like conversations when you're like into the conversation, when you're not, and you like there's a difference. So I feel like if you end up ghosting somebody and you're like, oh, but no, we like mutually fizzled out, it's just like, no you didn't. Like you know, if you actually you don't want to admit it, that's fine, but you know when you like you lost interest and when it was like a mutual thing.
Yeah, but then if we're talking about what Juan was saying, where he's been in situations where somebody has messaged him, or he's messaged somebody and they haven't responded to him, and then he just decided like, well, I'm not gonna, keep messaging this person. I'm not gonna like consistent, then it's this thing of like, okay, so if there's one message that they didn't respond to,
I feel like it also depends on like what that conversation ended. You know what I mean? Like, what was the message that you didn't respond to? Because if it was like something like lame that didn't really require a response, it's like, well,
right.
It's just.
I'll give you an example. Another example. I'm not gonna say like actual names, but you know about this because you and I talked about this like two years ago. I was working and I was coming back and I told you, hey, there's this person and this person keeps giving me like if by every inclination this person was giving me like the
Can we like
action.
bleep out the names?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Okay. So, and then I was like, but am I reading into this or am I right? And you were like, oh no, she's totally like,
100%.
Leading. And then
but
after,
that was weird.
And then right, but then after that, I was like, okay, well, it like I texted and then like it was nothing. So then like whatever. At that point, technically, that would be ghosting, right? Because there was a lot of interest and everything was seemingly like a go, and then there was no reciprocation after that.
Yeah.
But I've seen her since in passing, and it was in my mind. I'm like, oh, yeah, it was nothing. Like it was just like passing. Again.
Yeah. Like I have like talked to people that I have ghosted after I ghosted them. Like it's not like that person falls off the the face of the earth. Like they still exist out there in the world. I have just decided to stop engaging. You know what I mean? Like we can also bleep this out because I don't want his name. We'll like put a blurb, but like like I 100% ghosted him. I didn't mean to.
I remember that.
I didn't mean to.
I remember that.
But I also wasn't like trying to not ghost them. But then like I was like playing some fucking game and I had to like text the last, it was like one of those prompts and I ended up texting. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was like, but I definitely ghosted him.
Interesting.
But
yeah,
it's also like, I feel like it's not as intense either as like people make it out to be,
Yeah,
what I mean?
I didn't think so either.
It's just a name to like an action. That's it. Like,
except people really crucify him up. My boy
there's
Caleb out here.
I mean, there is a spectrum of like ghosting that's like and ghosting that's like, yo, that's
he's
definitely.
He's definitely an asshole for like him. I keep going back to like him saying like we're exclusive.
Boyfriend and girlfriend, and then you fall off the face of the earth. It's like fuck off. Like that's not fucking. You're just a dick. Like that is not. And he definitely thing.
And he's also a cheater because apparently it overlapped to some degree.
Think I do enjoy ghosting. And I get the argument. I get the argument of other people being like, just be an adult. But then I also like, I get it. I understand what they're saying. I respect it. I know that that's true. It makes a lot of sense, for you to be like, if you don't like me anymore, just tell me. But I'm also like, well, I'm not confrontational. And if like, also take the hint. Like, I don't want to be fucking mean. And also a lot of the times, like, I'm not like, oh, I don't want to, so like, I've already not shown interest, you know what I mean? Like, I've already, like, kind of given a lot of signs that I don't want to talk to you anymore, and you have just not picked up on that, which is fine. But, I'm also, like, if you're asking me to be an adult and talk about my feelings, I'm asking you to be an adult and understand social cues and stop pushing me because I don't want to fucking talk to you
This is the part where I automatically exclude myself from these kind of conversations because
you're so special.
No, because I only to your point, I can tell when somebody's really into me. I can tell.
Yeah,
and I'm like, all right, I don't like the fact that you are more invested in this than I am. Because now I feel like an asshole. Yeah. And so I'm just gonna tell you. Yeah. But if I don't get the vibe that's what's happening, I'm like, all right, well then I'm just gonna go do my own thing or whatever. And vice versa. Like if I'm too into something and then they tell me, I won't take offense to it. You know what I mean? And if they don't tell me, I might eventually get the hint. But like I don't take offense to it. This is only
if it's like it cannot be in like a committed relationship. Like this is only with people that like you've been talking to, or like maybe you've gone out with like once or twice.
And you haven't said we're exclusive.
To be fair, it's fine. It has been a little bit more than that, but we weren't dating. We were like casually dating. It wasn't my best moment. But like it's not if you're like actually, if you have invested in the relationship, you know what I mean? Like if you know that this is not like, if you guys are not dating, you're not exclusive, you've only seen each other a couple times and it's nothing like serious, then sure. But if it is like, if there's like feelings, like actual feelings involved, it's like, don't be a dick.
Also, I mean, we're talking about like highly, like when emotions are high in these kind of conversations, like sometimes somebody's just not it. Like somebody's just not the one. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even if you are talking for months or whatever it is, like, I feel and then somebody might come in and like make and like be like, oh shit, I'm clicking. Like this is happening. And then you're like, oh crap. Like what do I do now? Like what? How do I register this specific thing from the other thing and from the, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So maybe you're right, Bree. Maybe it is in the eye of the beholder to some degree. I think you get
like a 4-month like grace period. After 4 months, it's like you can't ghost them anymore. You know what I mean? Because also after 4, if you have been talking to somebody and like dating somebody for 4 months and y'all are not exclusive,
then chances are you talked about not being exclusive.
Well, yeah, but if you talked about not being exclusive, then who cares?
Right. So I'm saying. I mean? So like, after 4 months,
if that hasn't been a conversation, if you have hypothetically been like dating, even if it hasn't been exclusive yet, but dating, and it's been like 4-5 months, and y'all have not made it exclusive, or you haven't talked about it. Number one,
something's going on.
You can't ghost. That's so fucking rude. Like at that point, it's been too much fucking time. You know what I mean? Like there's been too much time invested. That is rude. Like You know what I mean?
Got it.
But also, don't let anybody talk to you for like 4 or 5 months and not. I was gonna say don't put a ring on it. Don't fucking put a ring on it after 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, please do not do that.
But so at the end of the day, we all agree that West Elm Caleb is in some way, shape, or
he's in
form
the
an
wrong.
asshole.
Yo, he's definitely an asshole.
But he doesn't deserve to be canceled, correct?
I don't think there's anything to cancel.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever gonna get canceled.
I think it sucks that he's getting crucified and he's being like.
I think he just became like a meme. You know what I mean?
I think they turned him into like a Karen. Like now, women could be like, oh, you're fucking Caleb, like you're this type of guy.
I have to fight back with that because there is somebody else in the media currently right now, a man who is taking over the name of Karen.
Who's taking over the name Karen?
James Iannazzo.
Who the fuck is
that?
That was the guy that was at the smoothie place.
I saw
The
that.
smoothie man. Throwing the smoothie at the worker.
I guess what I'm saying is like
character.
That is character behavior.
like now the name Caleb is the archetype, is the name that they'll use fuckboys for.
I wonder if he's gonna be like a West Elm Caleb.
Right, like
that's a fuckboy.
It's a fuckboy. Like now instead of calling like a fuckboy, they're gonna call him Caleb.
Yeah,
like,
I did see
and that kind of sucks.
But that already existed with Kyle. You know, like
Kyle
walked so Caleb could run.
This is
Don't
true.
get it twisted.
This is true.
So yeah, I don't feel bad about that. I think
Caleb grabbed the baton and said, "I'm about to Sha'Carri Richardson this bitch."
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate consequence. I think the consequence, like, you know, it's like at the same level as like the offense. It's nothing like crazy. He's not gonna lose his job, but like people are gonna make fun of you. Here's why
I'm gonna push back on that just a tiny bit, because for a while, and I don't know if you guys are maybe you know about this. I knew about this in passing. I never like looked it up or anything like that because I thought it was kind of pathetic in theory, like even overhead. There was a thing amongst like men for a while where there was a book that somebody wrote that was like 12 ways or 10 ways to like to make yourself more appealing to no, I don't think it was like alpha. It was like a pickup artist. It was all like how to pick up women or whatever, right? And like the tactic in that book was essentially like the opposite of love bombing. It's essentially like make yourself as distant as possible so that they end up wanting you more than you end up seeming like you want them. And in the long term, that is a horrible strategy because you don't build anything with meaning. You don't actually say anything about yourself. You don't actually you're not genuine. You're not. It's just a total fucking scam. So if the guy that wrote that book, if his name was fucking Timothy, like I would feel a lot better if the archetype for a fuckboy was a Timothy rather than a Caleb, because that's like an actual, like he made millions of dollars out of being a pickup artist.
But I wouldn't put it like I'm like I obviously all that we know about West Elm Caleb is that, and we can like measure that and be like, you know, that's not the worst fucking offense that a person could do. But at the same time, I'm like, you probably would and have done worse. It just wasn't blasted. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, if that is like your what's it called? If that is just how you operate on a regular, like if that is just how you manage your dating life in general, it's like, well, I'm not looking to hear about your fucking opinions on dating. You know what I mean? It's like, you are a fuckboy. You might not be the poster child, and he probably won't be the poster child for forever, because I think it's just one of those like internet trends. Like it's gonna die. Something else will come up. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I do think it's fucking hilarious.
Like as a girl, I'm talking as a girl. Like the offense is not, you know, it's like been there, done that. I'm not shocked by it. You know, it's not like the worst thing that he could have done. But 100%, it makes me think about like his values, you know what I mean? Like his morals and the way that he like views women and the way that he views dating and stuff like that. So I'm also not like, like the fuckboy label is not too big for you.
Oh,
Don't-
no.
You know what I mean?
Ultimately, I'm fine. Ultimately, I think it's hilarious. I'm just like, man, like,
They
like
can
you're
be
really
little
having a
boy
tough
band
week,
of
bro.
fuckboys, you know.
Yeah, like, you're really having a tough week over here. Like, it sucks.
But does he even have social media? Because I feel like if he did, he would, like, you know how shit like that happens and then they come out and they're like, I'm Wes, I'm Caleb. That hasn't happened. So I feel like, what if all of this is happening? He doesn't even fucking know.
No, he knows.
He knows.
He knows because I saw in one of the things that I was watching. In one of the things that I was watching, they specifically said that like he had messaged somebody. I don't know if it was one of the girls or and he specifically said like, yo, like my life is like the people keep recognizing me for this and that's not cool or the blah 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 this and that.
Stop fucking lying to women.
And it was just like yeah, like sorry, bro, but like you kind of earned that one.
You're now gonna be mad that like the consequences of your actions caught up to you and that you can't keep lying to women. Like
right.
What are you fighting for here?
Right.
What's your argument?
like they caught you, dog. Like my bad. Like you know what I mean? Take the L.
You're gonna sit there and be like, now they have taken away my chance of like finding true love.
Take the L.
Like,
it would be like super fucking fucked up, or not, or actually it wouldn't be that fucked up, but it would be really really shitty. I'm assuming, I'm trying to empathize here. If like he had found a girl that he really, really, really liked, and he was all like, I'm gonna try with this one, and then all this shit is happening, and it's like,
but
oh,
again,
fuck.
if
like,
you are finding that girl that you really, really like, then I'm guessing you're treating her differently. You know what I mean? Like I'm guessing that you're not using the same strategies. But what's different
than love bombing?
Actually caring about someone and like actually. Like,
but then how is that going to get interpreted? Like, I can show you that I care, but then the girl's going to be like, I think you're just love bombing me.
That's like, but that's just the consequences of your fucking actions.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, man, like if that was happening.
If a guy came up to me and was like, yeah, I cheated on like one of my ex-girlfriends, like he can't fucking blame me or anyone else for like now not trusting him. It's like, well, then you shouldn't have acted like a fucking douchebag. And like, I don't know what to tell you.
That's interesting. So if somebody came up to you, if you started dating somebody, like if you started getting serious with somebody, and then they admitted to you that they've cheated before, you would automatically not trust them?
I mean, I would want to know like the full story, but obviously that's gonna create trust. Like if you because then what? I'm gonna sit here and like I'm going to theorize about how I'm better than that person. And that's
I would make the argument that you should take things at face value and trust what he's saying because he hasn't lied to you yet specifically.
But I don't know that. And if I have evidence that you have lied about stuff like that in the past, it's like, well, I don't know how to tell I don't know when you're lying to me and when you're telling the truth. I don't know you
right, but that's the part of getting to know somebody is that you figure out whether you're.
But I'm saying like I might still like that person might still choose to like pursue it. But it might just take them longer. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
Would you tell somebody all the bad things that you've done in the past just so that all of that could be on the open, or would you hold that back?
No,
and be
I would
like, yo, I'm not gonna say that on the off chance that now you're gonna think like, oh damn, like I'm not somebody to be trusted.
I would tell them because like I personally would tell them because I would be like, yeah, I don't feel bad telling you, or not feel bad. Obviously, like it's not
you're
something
trying to be
I'm
open,
proud of, but. I'm okay saying it because I'm not that person anymore. Like I wouldn't do that now,
right?
You know,
even if after you tell them they say, well now I'm more apprehensive about trusting you.
Well, yeah, because otherwise then I'm being like deceitful because I'm, you know what I mean? I'm withholding
by omission.
I would be withholding information so that they can form like the best opinion about me that they need. You know what I mean?
So
like,
you're being deceitful by omission.
For me to like hide that means that I know that they might not be cool with that, which means I'm like distorting their perception of me. Not really. Like they have to make up their own mind and they have to figure out how they feel about me.
That's very big of you.
I kind of disagree on that.
That's very big of you.
Okay. Everyone has their own idea of you, and you start where you meet them. So whoever you want to be to them is the person you started at when you met them. So there's no reason for them that they have to know your past or they have to know. I mean,
she's saying is that
I get the bad behaviors and stuff like that, but if you can commit to being the person that you showed them to be whenever you started them,
100%. But she's
saying more. She's saying that who, like, what you've done has also contributed to who you are at that moment. So it would probably be in your best interest to prove how you got to that point, and that they should make an assessment of you in your honesty, despite the fact that you have a complicated past.
Yeah, like,
you know
if
what I mean?
I am so confident that I am not that person anymore, then I can say, like, these are the things that I have done before. This is why I would not do them right now. Because also, like, you, like, then they are also seeing, like, oh, but, like, how did you learn from that? Because you can know that something's wrong. That doesn't mean that you, like, you can know something is wrong by definition because you see other people think it's wrong and stuff like that. But a lot of people, like, do things that are, like, shitty or bad or whatever.
And they never, like,
know,
fix
and, like,
it, yeah.
by definition, like, on a technicality, it's wrong, but they might not feel, like, guilty about it. They might not feel remorse. They might not feel like they did anything wrong. And so if I sit there, like, let's say I cheated on somebody and I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to tell this person because then, you know, they're not going to trust me. It's like, well, they would have reason not to trust you because that's something you did. And they're not going to know that you're different unless you show them differently. You know what I mean? Plus, it would be so much worse if, like, you are dating and you are together and then they find out that you purposely hid that thing from them. Like, that is way fucking worse.
What I'm more curious about is how much time passes by before you decide, okay, that's information worth sharing now.
Oh, I am...
You're right up front, off the top?
Because I talk so much. Like, I would just fucking say it. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like the first day and they would be like, what's the worst thing you've ever done? And I would be like, well, actually, like, I just talk.
Julia's like, the body's in the trunk right now. Like,
but, I feel like also...
But it's okay, I don't kill people
I
anymore.
feel like it kind of depends too. Like, there are certain things, like, I don't feel like super vulnerable. Like, me personally, I don't feel like I'm giving, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like that much of an effort to me to say that. I would just feel comfortable. So yeah, like, I wouldn't need time for that. Like, now, if you want me to talk about my daddy issues, like, it's gonna take fucking months. Like, that's, you know what I mean? There's, like, levels to this shit.
Yeah. I tend to wait. I tend to wait quite a while because I don't know where things are gonna go and things like that. So it would take me a while for me to say, like, some of the things that I'm not proud of that have happened in my. But I will get to it.
I do have to say yours are worse than mine. So
I
understand the hesitation.
I do get there. I do get there eventually. It's just I'm like, you know, maybe not right now. Maybe not at this current moment.
Yeah, I also, like, not to say, like, I haven't done, like, bad. You know, like, my high school boyfriend wouldn't like me, but I also, like, I don't feel like I have done like such bad, awful things. So yeah. You know, I feel like more inclined to just be like, yeah, that wasn't really cool of me. that wasn't my best moment.
Right, an hour. Yeah,
and that's a wrap.
No. Are we just gonna talk about relationships today?
Honestly,
my goodness.
Hold on, you had a Kanye West bit in there. Are you gonna hit that?
I just can't talk about him.
Oh my god. Well, I was like, you know what? Like, I saw the first part of his documentary, and I was all like,
he has a documentary.
Yeah, there's a documentary of him out on like, it's like an origin story documentary. And
baby, we have all read your Wikipedia.
Like, I wanted to go on a rant about him because I have, like, a strong dislike, but we could wait for another time for that one because that shit is.
Well, on today's news for Kanye West, he's hiring kids from Skid Row for his next model show.
He's hiring kids and that just goes to show what like that it adds to the shit that I'm talking about of like
he's not terrible.
He's awful.
He's fucking awful.
He's
bro.
awful. There's no way around it. There's literally nowhere around it.
He's so bad. Skid Row.
Bad people can do good things. They're still bad people.
Yeah, and I specifically wanted to talk about him in a bigger rant.
What's so terrible about him? He has different political views, but I mean, he's not.
No. It's not the fact that, like, yeah, I don't want to, like, get into the trope of like, oh, black people need to think a certain way. Like, no, like black people aren't a monolith by any means. So, like, they can have their own opinions and
but he has been problematic since, like, before he would, like, speak on, like, his political.
The problem
views.
with him and I'll try not to get, like, be too specific, But the problem with him is that he's very disingenuous about what he wants, and he only wants one thing. And if you look at the trajectory of his entire career, the only thing he's ever been obsessed with, and like freakishly obsessed with, is just being popular. That is the only thing that every single decision that he has ever made is tied to the fact that people didn't like him, and he's trying to overcompensate the fact that people need to like him. And that goes back to like double polos. That goes all the way down to that goes all the way down to like backpack rap, and like him saying that he brought back the boom bap. That goes back to even being Kanye Kardashian and being like, let me attach myself.
You just call him Kanye Kardashian?
Oh, 100%.
I have never heard anyone say that, and honestly, it was really jarring.
Yeah,
I don't think I want to hear it again.
I
like that it is a KK.
Yeah, like
that is amazing.
Even as far as Kanye Kardashian, like he attaches himself to what is going to get him the most attention at all times. The MAGA thing, the most attention at all times, and he will not hesitate between, like he's like he has no spine. He will not hesitate like from going from one side and being MAGA crazy and then saying like, oh shit, black people don't like me anymore, gospel music. Like and there's no like he has no conviction, and he doesn't. It'd be one thing. I'd have a lot more respect for him if he was like, no, this is what I think, and y'all don't have to like me. End of story. And it'd be like, all right, at least he's like, this is what I'm about. But he will constantly just keep going back and forth between what. And he doesn't follow through with anything. Oh, I want to be in fashion because I want to save Chicago, and I want to like give inner city, kids like whatever. And all he's done in the fashion industry is create a multi-billion-dollar business as far as the Yeezy brand, in trying to make everybody just dress the way that he dresses. If he really wanted to help communities, if he really wanted to put high fashion into the arms of regular people, there are black businessmen and women out there. There are black men like graduating from top colleges all across the country. There are specifically black colleges all over the country that they're graduating people every single year, and he can target that demographic. He can target lawyers. He can target and create fashion and clothes and stuff for them just as much as inner city Chicago kids, or just as much as inner city, and make things affordable, not just overpriced toned down sweatshirts just so that everybody can look homeless. Like, no, bro, if you want everybody to just look the way you look because you want to be the epitome of cool, then say that. Say that that's what you want. Say that you just want to be the coolest person alive. Just say it. Because the moment you say it is the moment it's like, okay, respect. Like, because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
But if you blanket that with like, oh no, like, no, I'm trying to be the next Walt Disney, or no, I'm trying to be the next Steve Jobs, or no, I have ideas that can save the world, or no, like I'm trying to like say, I'm trying to like change. I'm trying to give uniforms to like all the inner city basketball public basketball teams, and all this, like all these signaling towards people that come from where he comes from, only so that people can be like, oh yeah, he's doing something really good. Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy Yeezys now, and that shit is still $350. Like, and those fucking shoes still cost. First of all, they're hideous, and then they still fucking cost so.
Hard,
well, the Red Octobers are the only ones that I'm like, yo,
don't you have a pair of Yeezys?
Huh?
Don't you have a pair of Yeezys?
No, I don't have any. I don't have any Yeezys. I don't have any Yeezy
you
anything.
You will not catch him sleeping.
No, don't catch. Nah, you would not. You would never. I am a sneakerhead, but a very specific type of sneakerhead, and I will not be caught dead wearing Yeezys because of the fact that I really value people that stand by their convictions in terms of like being artists. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then those same people will clown other people that have done significant things for people that do come from that walk of life, only because they're not popular. Case in point, when Shaq was at Payless and Shaq's shoes were completely affordable to every inner city kid in the entire country, you couldn't wear Shaqs because you were uncool. Everybody wanted Jordans, and Jordan's a big piece of shit when it comes to like his brand also. But again, it's not what's cool. So it's like, Kanye could have led by example and been like, no, what Shaq did was the biggest G move in the fucking game. And instead he's all like, no, I'm gonna give you some I'm gonna give you some Tyrannosaurus Crocs and like trying to and you're gonna wear these with your sweat, with your $150 sweats and your $250 Gap sweatshirt, and this is fashion now. All because he didn't get accepted into Louis Vuitton the first time. Like, come on, bro. Like, get the fuck over it.
His
you know
whole
what I mean?
style just looks like the Marshmallow Man. Everything that he has is just like blown up
so,
times 3.
Plus, because fashion was never his thing. Like, he didn't, like, he has this, like, persona of, like, well, number one, he calls himself a genius. But in fashion, like, he was always, like, so interested in it, and he wants to, like, revolutionize it. But, like, he got into fashion because of his ex-girlfriend. Like, she was literally a fashion designer, and she was the one that, like, he always credits himself as like reinventing like Kardashians and like how their whole style like changed. And it's true, like their whole style did change after like he came into the family, but that's because his whole style was like reinvented by his ex-girlfriend. Like, that's not to his credit, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's like he does things without like any regard for like anyone else but himself. And I think that's where people are like, who is looking after this man?
Two more points. Beef with Drake, all attention seeking. He's not the most popular artist in the world anymore. So he's like, I gotta battle. I gotta go against the actual most popular artist in the world. Like, no, bro. Like, and to give him a little bit of credit, he is a good music producer. He has made some good music. I'm not part of I'm not part of the group that says like people that I don't like or people that are bad people can't make good things or can't do good stuff. Oh no, 100% they can. You know, when Kanye West said George Bush doesn't care about black people, I felt that shit. I'm like, yo, that was a G'd up move. So I'm not saying that he's completely like at the very bottom of the totem pole and like and I don't fuck with him. I'm just saying that collectively the totality of who he is and all the actions that he's done summed up together make him a piece of shit person. And secondly, as an artist, I will 100% go against the grain whenever people label themselves geniuses, and the only way to seemingly be a genius is to be a tortured, a tortured person dealing with like mental health issues. Like, that's not cute. And as an artist, that's not how the most prolific and best artists that have ever existed. That's not the trope that they've lived by. And it's just, and whenever people do get painted as like, oh, well, maybe the only way to get this art is to be on drugs, or in order for something to be this good, you've got to be, you know, tortured, or you got to be like a piece of shit, or you've got to be, you know, dealing with mental health issues or bipolar. Like, I just go 100% against that, because that's not true. Some of the biggest artists that have been labeled as that have made their best work when they're in therapy, when they've been able to deal with themselves a lot better and do not have a chaotic mind. And it's just not cute. It's not cute to idolize people that have been dealing with something or romanticize, better yet, romanticize a very specific dark mental health experience only because it creates great, phenomenal art. Like, that's just not cute. And as an artist, I would never stand on that side of the aisle of it, because one, you can't be self-proclaimed either. That shit is fucking. Yeah, that shit is corny as fuck.
He calls himself
like
Jesus.
Yes, like that shit is corny, dog. Like, that shit is corny as fuck. But even if people were labeling you that and you didn't call yourself that, and you were dealing with some serious mental health issues, which we've all seen publicly that he has, the only thing that I would say at that point is like, get this man some help. Like, go and stop buying his shit. Like, stop enabling the fact that like the more you buy his shit, the more he thinks he's right. Yeah. And he's not right. He hasn't been right for a very long time. This man needs help, not another $1 billion endorsement by for being the fucking on the board of some other fashion brand. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's just corny all the way through and through. And you know, everybody that romanticizes it and wears his clothes and like, you know, and touts it out and about like that, especially as celebrities, I'm like, man, y'all got to do better, because this is supposed to be somebody that y'all fuck with. And if y'all really actually fuck with him and care about him, then y'all be trying to do everything that you can to like get him help that he really that he really needs, instead of him gallivanting trying to get another, trying to get a new girlfriend right now just because he wants to piss off Pete Davidson and Kim K. Like, bro, like grow up, bro. You're 45 years old. Like, let's fucking mature a little bit.
There's that clip from Pete Davidson on SNL, which is like, this is whenever Kanye went on, like, I think it's when he did like oh fuck, he's honestly had so many like public mental breakdowns that I can't remember which one it was. I think it's when he was like, it's when he said that like slavery is like a mental state, and that
he said that slavery was a choice.
Yeah, that slavery was a choice. Pete
Dog,
Davidson is like, he's in the weekly news and he's like, he's tweeting, Kanye's like tweeting that like, yeah, I'm off my meds, like this is the real me. Pete Davidson is like, take them. I do it. It's great. I love it. There's no
take
shame
your fucking
in the
meds. Yeah.
I was like, and now he's dating Kim Kardashian. What a time.
I mean, look,
we're not.
We're not.
We can't get into that.
We can't get into Pete Davidson's ascension in the celebrity sphere. But I agree with him. Take your meds,
Pete
bro.
Davidson stan.
Take your fucking meds, because that shit ain't cute. Like, it's just not all this ahistoric. Like, I don't get to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get to actually do the research, just listen to me, and just like, that's not cute, bro. So that's why whenever I saw the documentary, I did see like the first 30 minutes, like 4 parts or whatever, and only the first part is out. And I saw like 30 minutes of it, and I was all like, man, like, it's just tragic to me, because he could have been somebody that you could really use as an example as to like how to really ascend in the world, coming from Southside Chicago.
But the thing is that people already view him that way, though. Like, right. Even if we disagree, like, people already view him that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the tragic part about it. Yeah, is that he actually isn't. True. He doesn't live up to that to that moniker. And
in your opinion, who does?
But yeah,
Jigga,
like,
probably Jay.
Who?
Jay-Z.
I thought you were saying J-Lo, and I was like,
I thought you said J-Lo too.
No, Jigga. That's
but like, what I'm saying is, like, I agree. Like, obviously, a lot of his success is like a lot of people enabling, like, his like poor treatment of like mental illness and whatnot. Like, people are just taking advantage of him. But like, to people who came from where he came from, like, they probably see him and they're like, he did make it. Like, he is that.
No, 100%. Whenever I was
at a very high fucking cost.
Whenever I was a Kanye West fan, like,
I'm sounding like a Kanye West like
apologizer,
yeah,
like
a
apologist. No,
please,
like,
let it be known.
All Falls Down. I think that song is incredible. And when I was a kid in high school listening to All Falls Down, I'm like, man, this man gets me. Like, this man gets the idea
like, I could literally not fucking name a Kanye West song besides like, what's the fuck? I don't even know what the name is. I just know
Power, maybe,
Nicki
or like
Minaj's
Monster.
Verse. That's yes,
Monster.
You.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I can name a couple, but
so like All Falls Down to me is like one of the best songs, because it talks about it's both like really fucking cool and really great, but also he's talking about some real shit that and like through a real unique perspective. And around the time like Fiasco's Hurt Me Soul was out, and Kick Push was out, and like, all this. So it was a lot of like this conscious stuff happening, and I'm like, man, this man's amazing. And My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which is the album he made about Amber, or inspired by Amber, I think is a masterpiece. Like, I give him credit where it's due. Like, I think Twisted Fantasy is a masterpiece, but just because you made something phenomenal doesn't
debating that
right.
he makes good music. Everybody is debating that,
right.
like,
and that's the point that I'm making.
You don't get to like do like crazy shit and like be a shitty person and then be like, oh, it's just because I'm mentally ill. That's not how it works. There's a lot of mentally ill people that are not shitty people. Those are not like, number one, those are not intertwined, and like they're not mutually like, and they shouldn't be conflated for each other. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Like, obviously his mental illness has played like a really huge part on the way that he like has navigated the world, but that does not mean you get to like say the shit that he has said or like done the shit that he has done. Like, that is not.
This goes and this kind of goes back to the point you made last episode about idolizing politicians. I feel the same way about celebrities.
Well, yeah.
Like you stop idolizing celebrities. Take in what they have to offer in terms of art, in terms of product, and if you like it, you like it. But stop acting like they're infallible, and stop being apologists for behavior that shouldn't be apologized for. You know, like that you shouldn't apologize for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A person can have that kind of duality. A person can make a beautiful piece of art and also do some shit that's like, yo, that's not cool, bro. Like, that's a no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those two things can live independently from each other, and better and furthermore,
and they should.
And furthermore,
it's like way more damaging that they don't. Like
further, I'll end this point with the fact that I don't think he's also irredeemable. Like if he managed to figure out a way, and I feel like this about a lot of people that I don't agree with. Like if you manage to find a way and create an example of how you can go off the deep end on this side and still recoup and say like, you know what, like I'm willing to be an adult and acknowledge all of these things that I've done, and this is where I stand now. This is how I'm trying to, and then you show and prove in that sense. I'll be totally fine with like, look, I really appreciate and respect your trajectory in life, and it was tragic, and you know, I hope that. You know, a part of me wishes that it never went that way because I was a huge fan at one point. But, you know, respect where you ended up because shit is crazy out here. And for me to even assume that my life would have like an upward trajectory like that and is insane. So I can respect that. But in the moment, if you haven't done it, I'm going to call you out for what it is. Like, and that's why when I saw the documentary, I saw on Twitter, everybody was romanticizing it. Oh, y'all better give this man the credit that he deserves and this and that. It's like, first of all, y'all give him too much credit. And I'm like, I don't know where y'all think that he's getting less credit because he keeps getting more credit. And I think it should be the opposite. I think that watching the documentary, instead of saying like, oh my God, this man really is a genius, you should say, look how far he fell. Look how far away from who we thought he was going to be. He actually is. You know what I mean? And people don't see it that way. And I'm just like, it's so irritating.
I just like I literally have no idea what goes on in that little fandom. Like I don't know anything about.
It's a pretty big
Kanye
fandom.
West became like a person in like my mental sphere once he married into the Kardashians, and I am not sorry for saying that. I'm not sorry for saying that. Remember when I got one of his vinyls as a gift?
Yes.
I spent like 50 minutes ranting about how much I don't give a fuck about him. This man gifts me his vinyl. I was like, what the fuck? He was like, I thought you liked it. I was like. What
like, conversation did we have?
You mean in that conversation when I was talking about how much I don't like him?
Yeah.
I love women penetration.
Well,